And tonight we have some special guests this evening. Please welcome a project under construction, tribute to the music of King Crimson. And these guys will be doing a show on Tuesday. And
Thursday.
And hello, welcome.
Hello, everyone.
Hey. Good morning.
Hello, Mr. Wizard.
Seems like everybody's here.
Yep.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
Good.
Yeah.
We got all the mics going. We got some nice music in the background.
Yep.
Not too loud, of course. So, tell us, King Crimson, why?
That is a really good question. Well, first off, I want to say, when I heard you play the John Zorn, I knew I was in the right place.
Yeah, of course, it's the Wizard.
So,
For sure.
thank you for that.
Of course, it's the Wizard.
Yeah.
Well, why King Crimson? Well, first off, there's 50 years of phenomenal music from these guys that spans many different eras. You know, we start off with like In the Court of the Crimson King, like which blew up like the world and made progressive rock in one album, right? We've got albums like Red, which we are playing, right?
Yep.
Sir Erik here next to me, he's on that as well. Yep. We're playing through Lark's Tongues and Aspic. We're playing through all of the 80s stuff, okay? This is an absolute labor of love because we're not making any money. But
Of course. And that's what we do here at the Wizard. We do it for love.
absolutely. And I don't know about you guys, but I have spent an incredible amount of time practicing and preparing for this show. And that to me that's one of the reasons why I signed up for music in the first place. You know, like when I first heard the Beatles come out of that speaker and I was like, how do they do that? And he was like, well, they put their, hands on the guitar and they play chords. I'm like, no. How do they do that? You know? And I've been after that ever since. And I think you guys are too. I like to think that I would like to think so. So
right, and then there's a more like, how did we get from point A to point B, and that is, King Crimson fans know that there was a tour last year that Adrian Belew and Tony Levin and Danny Carey from Tool and Steve Vai put together called the Beat Tour, and that was kind of the actual impetus for doing this. Was one of our guys, Eric, who's not here, the other Eric, was sitting with the guy who owns Montrose Saloon, and they were talking about this Beat Tour, and Eric was like, it'd be cool if we did a King Crimson night. And basically Eric called his bluff and said, okay, put it together. No, you put it together. And as the way Eric tells the story is that like he actually booked the gig on the spot without having any personnel or songs or anything. And that was kind of the real genesis of it. I will say the show is on Thursday of this week, not Tuesday. You had said Tuesday at the beginning.
Oh, yep, Thursday, March 13th.
Thursday, yeah.
Yep. Thursday at Montrose Saloon. So that was the original genesis, no prog rock pun intended, of this particular tribute and this particular group of musicians getting together.
Okay.
You know, he also when he like announced this on he made a Facebook group. That's how I got hooked up with it.
Yeah.
Saw the Facebook group. I was like, I am in. Yes, 1,000 times yes. But he got like lambasted online. You guys, how dare you? Like they were like we were approaching some shrine, without the offering, How dare you do this? You'll never be able to pull this off. Well, that is part of what drives us, actually. Yeah. We are pulling this off, right? My first rehearsal with the band, when we did 21st Century Schizoid Man, okay? We finished the song. There was that pause at the end. We all looked at each other, and I'm like, well, let's just go home. We're done, right? I'm smiles all the way home, I just want to add really quick that, you ask why King Crimson, okay? Think of today's musical climate, okay? Outside of the station, of course. Outside of the station. Inside the station, perfect musical climate. Outside?
Yeah.
Okay. You will get more music in the first 10 minutes of this show than the entire recorded output of Taylor Swift, of Ariana Grande. Just pick a pop star. You'll get more music. That doesn't mean you need to leave after 10 minutes. You're staying for the entire show because we will pummel you. We will take you through a journey. And when you return, you will be a better person for it.
Cool. Great. Okay, my next question is Mellotron.
Mellotron. Good question.
Yes, the answer is yes.
Yes, we have a Mellotron.
Yes.
All right.
Do we have a Mellotron? Yes, we have a Mellotron.
Okay.
Of course.
It is working. No, well, they don't have an actual Mellotron, but yes, you will hear the Mellotron at the show.
And Bob is our Mellotronist.
Yes.
Yes.
21st century schizoid man, starless.
Starless.
I'm telling you, starless, man.
Yeah.
That one is just like, it's flooring me.
It's a beast.
You know?
Yeah.
It's a beast.
On the more recent King Crimson tours that ended in 2021, they didn't actually have an actual Mellotron on stage. They had the modern keyboard equivalent to it. Where
Yeah.
It sounds just like it. It's good enough. You know,
I'm sorry to interrupt, but there's a reason why we don't have an actual Mellotron. Number one, it's incredibly expensive.
And they're unreliable. Right?
Yeah.
They are unreliable. I went to see the musical box do Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. The show stopped twice because of the Mellotron. Because of the actual Mellotron they had. So
I'm glad he didn't go to that one.
right. Well, bathroom breaks, you know.
Yeah. Well, you never know when those are coming anyway. But yeah, so you're doing Crimson. You're gonna be playing 70s stuff and 80s stuff and
90s stuff.
90s
some
stuff.
90s stuff.
It's a full
And 60s
retrospective.
stuff. Forgot all of it.
And the 60s stuff, yep.
And the 2000 stuff too. Something.
Are we what are we doing from the 2000s? Are we talking like Level 5 or Power to Believe or
Okay. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. I'm not sure if that's in there. I know that there's 25, 26 songs in the entire show.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I see that the show starts at 7.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll probably
Precisely.
be going. Is it one set, 2 sets,
Probably three.
3
yeah.
sets?
Yeah.
Wow. So
You will be ensconced.
absolutely,
You will be enrobed in the music of King Crimson. Prepare thyself.
okay. And how did you all get together and meet each other to, like these are the right guys to do this?
Well, as Bob said, Eric put out the call on social media, and I think I'm almost unique across the group in that I knew Eric already from like open mics and some other stuff that's going on in the city. But I think most of the rest of the crew here is just like, yeah, sign me up. I know none of you guys, but I'm in for it.
I've had 3 people who were in Eric's group that he put together. Sorry, thank you. And they're like, "You need to do this." You're like the biggest Crimson fan we know. You need to do this. Like, all right, okay. I just messaged him, and then by process of, I was talking to Steven about this because we have some mutual contacts. So he did like a 6 degrees of like other people that we kind of know in our weird musical universes that like, all right, so-and-so knows this person, so-and-so's in this person. But yeah, it wasn't necessarily, here's a group of guys who know each other well outside of kind of your relationship. And, we're just completely blind flying into this of like, oh, it's the music stands on its own. And if these guys are really putting in the time and the effort to make it go, these guys are going to be some serious players. So I'm willing to pony up the time too. So it's almost like a poker game, It's like, all right, yeah, we're all going to pony up and we're going to rehearse the heck out of this stuff. And so
So how long have you been rehearsing for?
Let's see. Probably like
6 weeks.
yeah, like 6
maybe?
weeks. Yeah.
Maybe 6 weeks.
Steven's been at it longer than I have. So
Just by a couple of weeks. So.
yeah.
Very good.
But we have, let's see, we've got 3 drummers, right? We have Steve. Do we have 4?
Four.
Jim's playing.
Jim
on a couple.
and Chris and Steven and
Todd.
Todd, that's right. Yeah.
All at the same time?
No.
Have you been to Montrose Saloon?
We-
There's no way that's happening.
Yeah.
Coz and I have a dream.
Yeah, exactly.
We
I think the
thought-
first rehearsal, I was sitting on another drum kit and I started like adding some of the layered stuff on Starless. It's like, oh, it'd be awesome if we could do this. Like, we're never going to be able to do this.
We should do it. We should do it.
We'll do the double trio, but we got to run cables outside.
Yeah, no kidding.
and then we can make it happen.
We'll play it for the patio.
One trio's in the patio, right? Yeah.
So 6 weeks of practice.
4 guitar players.
Music majors,
Yeah.
if you're listening, okay, you want to see this. You definitely want to see this, okay? If you have never heard their music before, there is such a vast variety to choose from the 70s to the 80s to the 90s, okay? I'm not just talking like time. I'm talking like distinct eras. And, okay, King Crimson, and correct me if I'm wrong, guys, has like elements of jazz, has definitely elements of classical. I mean, like directly pulling from classical, but it's completely original. So if you're like into the 20th century classical stuff, you've got to hear this. I mean, you've got to hear this. You know what I mean? Schoenberg, Stockhausen, all those cats, man.
Well, and minimalism too, right?
Yes.
For the 80s stuff.
Absolutely.
They were drawing a lot from Steve Reich, right?
Absolutely.
Oh, now that's a name right there.
Yeah.
Steve Reich. Steve Reich drumming. Just go get that CD. Steve Reich drumming. You're welcome. I also. What is this that you're playing? Because this is like really great.
The Wine of Silence, Robert Fripp, Metropole, and the Metropole Orchestra.
All right.
Yeah, right.
All right. My man.
So,
Some Robert Fripp, baby.
Yeah, figured it's something nice, mellow in the
Yeah,
background,
I love
you
it.
know, so people can have something to listen to while they're listening to people talk.
You have all these composed genres, you know, we're mentioning about like European classical music, jazz fusion, but there's also a heavy element, especially in certain 70s pieces of the free improvisation and like free jazz movements that are directly right there, and they just like plop right into, you know, these really esoteric pieces where there's all kinds of compound meter changes and meters happening, and then you just blast right into some like straight up free jazz, you know, and then you can go back out of it again too.
That's especially the way they were in the 70s when they played live.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Every show had a certain level of improv, and they also did that. They didn't quite do it as much during the 80s, but then when the 90s came back, they had that section in Thrack where every night we're going to do 5-10 minutes unscripted. We're going to start here, it's going to end there, and whatever happens in the middle happens.
Right.
I love that.
Yeah.
We're talking about doing that for the next show.
The next show.
The
This
next
is
show.
the only show you've got booked so far.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
We're already committed to doing another show.
Okay.
That does not mean you cannot go to this show. You are going to this show. If you are a fan of Tool, if you are a fan of Primus, they owe a great debt to King Crimson. Tool actually,
Especially Tool.
Yeah.
Tool had King Crimson open for them, right?
2001.
Aragon
Yes.
Ballroom, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
No, they didn't play in Chicago together.
No.
It was only on the west. The closest they came to Chicago was Red Rocks.
Right.
Oh.
I came this close to going, and all I ended up with was a Tool King Crimson T-shirt. But I didn't actually get to see any of those shows.
That's one more
And it was-
T-shirt than I got, though.
No.
Oh, speaking of T-shirts, here, let me show you this. So, all right.
Oh, wow. Do we have merch?
reveal.